Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hey friends, welcome back to the show this week. I'm so excited to be back with you again, and I can't wait to hear your feedback on this one. This is another super beginner Etsy shop person who's just doing so well and has so much wisdom for you. I'm going to tell you all about her in a minute. If you have not been around for a few weeks, I want to make sure you know that I do have an FAQ episode coming up. So go down in those show notes and you can submit an Etsy or business or any kind of question you want for me in the FAQs, and I will cover it in the upcoming episode. And the other thing going on is, oh my gosh. So a few weeks back, I launched a service where I send a trend report and product opportunities every Monday. The trends would affect anybody no matter what you make, whether you're in physical products, digital products, or print on demand. The product suggestions are specific to print on demand and digital products, but it's been going so well. A whole bunch of you are in on that service. And what I'm doing is I'm giving you a list. And I actually show you on video. So I give you an actual written list that I email to you. And then you can go watch the trend spotting video where I show you how and where I'm finding the trends that are happening so that you know what you can create next. What it does is it informs you that okay, I'm going to create a new tumbler this week. I should make sure and combine the Halloween niche with the Western niche and the coquette niche, because if I do all three of those together, I am going to kill the game. And it's giving you those kinds of suggestions and a list of exactly what's happening, what's ongoing, what's fading out, all of that. And then if you happen to be in print on demand or digital products, I'm showing you a list of 5 things that you could create right away where there is currently demand and very low competition. And each one has a video showing you what I suggest, giving you ideas. And what it'll do is it'll kind of cut down on some of your research time, or if you don't really know how to understand Etsy yet and what to create and finding opportunities, I am walking you through it and giving you those suggestions so you can save some time and get back to creating and skip a little of the research. So I will link that. If you are curious about it, but you're not sure that you want the weekly email yet, there is a free demo, like a free sample of what one of them looks like. So that'll help you immediately and give you some tips on the trends. And that's a great place to start. So without further ado, let me tell you about Bree Dudley, who is just the sweetest thing. I'm going to tell you more when she comes on of how we met. But I do want to kind of give you a heads up. We had some internet connectivity issues with this one. I'm sure my editor is going to do a great job like he always does. But give us some grace because it is a little choppy at times, and I apologize for that. We were doing the best we could. So Bree lives in College Station, Texas, go Aggies, with her husband and 2 kids. After working in construction sales for 7 years, she put that career on hold to start a family and be home with her kids, which led to the start of crocheting during the COVID times. After lots of encouragement from friends and to start on Etsy, she got that was 2 years ago, and now she is selling patterns, selling products at a boutique, and on Instagram while trying to be present with her kids as well. So we are going to hear a beginner story. She started a few years ago, but she has been like a slower burn to now a little over 200 sales of both crocheted stuffies and loveys. And then she's moving into patterns from there. And her Instagram is over 11,000 followers. She's really killing it. So super, super great. If you're just thinking about Etsy, if you've gotten started, but you're in the really early days, or if you're a little bit stuck, you're going to hear really great wisdom. And she's just breaking it down to the earlier stages, which is so helpful. Sometimes those really big stories are overwhelming. So this one's going to really help you today. Please help me welcome Bree to the podcast. Hey, Bree, welcome to the podcast. This is so fun.
Hi, thank you, Lizzie, for having me.
I'm so excited. So I want to just to tell you guys a little backstory. Bree slid into my DMs and she's just like, and it was actually after the holiday trends episode. And she was telling me about the Creator Collective, which I spoke very ignorantly about as I dropped that into that episode. And she just slid in there and we got to kind of chatting. And I'm like, looking at her shop, which is freaking awesome. And I'm like, Bree, do you want to come on the podcast? That's literally how this happened. And so here she is, bless her heart. She's just like, I don't know why I'm here, Lizzie. And I'm like, oh, there's a million reasons. So that is our little courting story of how this all came to be. So you never know what happens when you slide into my DMs. But tell us, Brie, we got to start at the beginning. Like, tell us your background. Who are you? Where are you? And how did you learn how to crochet? Like, when did that happen?
I learned to crochet when I was in junior high with my grandma. And I live in Texas. I live in College Station now. I grew up kind of outside of Houston. But I didn't keep up with crocheting through, adultness or in college or anything until I had kids. And, during COVID, trying to find something to do, I saw a crochet dinosaur on Instagram and, of course, thought, oh, well, I can just make that, like any DIYer does. And made the dinosaur. It was it fell apart basically instantly, but after a few times, I kind of figured it out and gave it to my daughter. Slowly after that, our friends saw it. Can you make one for my son? Can you make one for this? And my husband came home and I had a big box of yarn sitting in the living room and he's like, what are we doing? So that's kind of how Etsy started. Friends just asking enough times and encouraging me that the product was great and that they loved it and why not try to sell some. So
are you home with your babies?
I am home with my babies, yes. After me and my husband both graduated from A&M and we went to work in DFW for a little bit. I was in construction sales for about 7 years. And then we started moving around with his job. So in sales, it's hard to keep your clients and move around, and redo your customer base all the time. So we made a decision for me to stay at home with the kids and just haven't gone back and now turning a hobby into a side hustle. So were you guys in a position where you were wanting to add an extra income stream or was this just totally kismet? Like it just happened? Like, did you try other side hustles? Totally just happened.
Oh my gosh.
I was a stay-at-home mom who had a sales career. So I kind of always dreamed about being a stay-at-home mom. But then once you're in it, you're like, okay, and I did love it. But of course, finding something to have as your own and something to do, it really has taken any kind of thing I missed about working. It has fulfilled that, even though it's a completely different lifestyle of working at home with your kids, but it did just kind of happen. So
tell us, how did you end up on Etsy? Tell us your Etsy story.
Really, I just didn't think of other options of when my friends were like, do you want to sell these? How do you want to sell these? I kind of just immediately thought Etsy. I started my Instagram account the same time I started Etsy. So I don't know. I just kind of thought they would go well together. I don't know. I just thought that was the way you do it, I guess.
This is the best. I love people who are in the beginning sharing their stories. So Bree, how long ago did you open your shop? And do you know approximately how many sales you have now?
In next month around Halloween, like the week of Halloween, it'll be 2 years that I started on Etsy.
Okay. And you're at how many sales?
Like
do you remember?
230.
That's what I thought.
Something like that.
Okay.
And so, I just started patterns in July. So I have 2 digital products now and I launch one next week. So.
Okay. Gosh, I didn't even add, we should talk about let me just ask right now. What, how is the product what is it called? How's the pattern writing going? Was that new for you? Had you ever done that before?
No, I hadn't done it before. I started, I guess in June, I was trying to figure it out. I've had a few ideas for a while, but I really wanted to get comfortable with what patterns look like, how to read them. And after a year and a half of selling finished products, I, own a lot of crochet patterns. So, but it was kind of a confidence thing too. And you're like, do I know what I'm doing enough to write patterns? So it's been a journey. I tried to pick a more simple design first to really just learn the process and what people, how other people will read it and how it comes out for other people, like how their product comes out for others. So, and I've tried to grow on that. Like my one that comes out next week is a little more complex than my first one, like trying to build on him. So.
Okay. And you still sell a lot of like crochet stuffies and things like that and loveys, right? Is that your main product?
Yes, that's still the main product. Definitely still the how to juggle, cells and it takes 3 hours to make an item. That's why I want to have more patterns down the line and try to not have to create as many things all the time.
How do you structure your product drops? Like, are you making everything to order, or do you do a whole bunch and then you list it? How does that work for you?
What has worked for me on Etsy has been more made to orders.
Wow.
I do like doing some drops like seasonal, but those don't do as well for me on Etsy alone, or unless I'm sending them to Etsy from Instagram. Like Instagram, my drops do okay, but I'll usually still post it on Etsy and send them there. But I do sell in a boutique as well. So drops, kind of in person and Instagram, but Etsy, my made to order listings do well. Or do better than the already made items.
Okay, I'm shifting these things around because your Instagram is nuts. You have over 11,000 followers, right? Isn't that right? And you started it at the same time as your Etsy shop, so like 2 years ago-ish?
Yes, I started both the same week.
Are you just everything on Instagram is sent to your Etsy shop, or you're selling through Instagram?
Sending it to Etsy.
You are? Okay, because Instagram doesn't have that yet, right? Where you can sell directly from the platform, or can you? I can't remember.
I think you can. They have like Instagram shops, I think, but I think you still have to link it to something else. I think there still has to be, I could be wrong.
It's showing
I think there still has to be
But the point is you're not using it. You're just literally using your Instagram to send people over to Etsy, which is literally brilliant. How did you get so many followers? Like, tell us your secrets. That's incredible.
Thank you. I've really tried, especially when I started doing patterns, it's kind of different. I have, customers that want to buy the finished items, and I have maker followers as well. There's lots of crocheters that follow me. So it's kind of like I try to have my content for one of them, and I'm kind of always aware of like, okay, I've made a lot of kind of pattern content lately. Let me do something for the customers as well. But one thing that really has helped me get to the number I'm at now, I've been really strategic with the giveaways I've done. I think a lot of people, especially making a finished product, we get asked for, do you want to do this giveaway, or do you want to donate this? Or that's a way to attract followers and people to share it. But I've really tried to be strategic on the ones I've done and how to go about them. Like I did one with, they're out of Fort Worth. They make baby books, but like hunting baby books, very, very target audience, niche down, duck hunting, deer hunting, all those things. So I did a giveaway with them for my bestseller, which is a mallard lovey, and their duck hunting book. And I got 1,600 followers in a day. And
whoa.
But what really helped me capitalize on it was every person that entered the giveaway, I messaged them and said, thank you for entering. And yes, it took a lot of time to dig through comments and all that kind of stuff on Instagram. But I think it really helped me. You break the barrier to people of like, there's already an easy form of communication. They can ask you a question. I got orders from DMs just because we were already in a conversation, right? They didn't have to wait and go order on Etsy, or they didn't have to wait and see if I was a real person or not. I kind of broke that barrier already, and I got orders just from reaching out to people who entered the giveaway. If they enter the giveaway, they're obviously at least somewhat interested in your product, right?
Absolutely.
So that was one thing that I think's really helped me turn giveaways into sales, like not just throwing away a free product, which is fine, but I really tried to convert people that way.
Do you remember, like, did the growth of your Instagram directly correlate to the growth of your Etsy sales?
I think so. In some ways, the growth on Instagram has really helped. So at the beginning, I felt like I wasn't getting any organic Etsy sales.
Yeah.
I felt like it was all Instagram, which is fine. But I think just that kind of spark of, sales from Instagram then helped me in the Etsy algorithm and Etsy search. And do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Having some history, I think helped. And then now it's a little bit more even of Etsy organic sales versus Etsy from Instagram, if that makes any sense.
It makes complete sense. And you've hit on something that's so important. And I don't push social media. I personally think that when unless you're just wanting to do a little side hustle hobby, I think that starting with Etsy is the best place to do, because I've tried every side hustle and Etsy is by far the easiest, especially handmade, because there's so much demand for it. So it's a lot of time though, right? You eventually want to switch, but you start with an Etsy shop, you figure out how to position a product, and then you start building an email list, you start building social media, and you ultimately add your own website so that you can use Etsy as a funnel. You can send people, you can use it as Etsy as a lead generation tool. So what you did though is so brilliant. You're like, and you knew, here's the cool thing about you, Brie. Your product is very viral worthy. So when you've got a physical handmade product that can go viral, that is very visually pleasing and just cute or attractive somehow, then you can grow an Instagram account more easily than, for example, someone like me who's sharing educational content. It's a slower grow than someone like you. So what you did was you just reverse engineered it. Rather than using Etsy to create an audience for yourself of customers, you used Instagram to build an audience for yourself, and you're sending them to Etsy. And you literally jump started the algorithm so that now Etsy sends you organic sales. So little lesson for everyone listening. Talk to us about your, and I've done my famous thing and gone completely off. So give Brie a lot of grace, guys, because I have abandoned all of the questions I told her. Not totally, but tell us, like, what kind of content works really well for your an adorable crochet duck on Instagram. Are you doing like reels? Are you doing carousel? Like, what kind of content are you creating? What's working well?
I feel like it changes a lot. For me, like I said, I did that giveaway with the super niche down audience.
Yes.
So anything I do in that audience usually does really well. And I've tried to hone in on that. Like, once you find your target audience, like anytime I post a deer, it usually does better than if I post a unicorn.
Wow. Because of your audience. Yeah. Because the hunting people came over. Okay.
So really knowing your audience, I guess. But then it comes into play too. Like I said, I have makers that follow me and the customers. So your other crocheters are going to view your make differently, right? They see it as the art. They see it as, oh, where'd you get that yarn? What stitch did you use here, or things like that. So they might like more of like I did a behind the scenes of one of my pattern designs. I took like a picture, you try it, you don't like it, you do it again. You try it, you don't like it, you do it again. And I took like just a picture on my phone of every step that I attempted, and then did a reel of it at the end.
Wow.
Like my maker friends were like, that's so cool to see like the transformation. But the customers, might not appreciate it as much. The customers of the finished product. So it's different what does well for which audience, I guess.
Have you ever had a reel kind of go crazy, like pop off?
And not as much as like a full viral one. I think my best viewed reel is like 270,000 views, which is still wonderful. But some people, you hear some on here that are like, oh yeah, I got 4 million views or something, but like not that level. But
okay, Brie, tell us about the reel that got over 200,000 views, please. What did it consist of?
It was my kids playing with my scrap yarn.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah. It was, I had a piece of contact paper, like, that you like laminate things with, like it's sticky on one side. and I put it on the wall and I let the kids play with all my like scrap yarn bits that every crocheter has laying around their house everywhere. And they just put it on the wall and were playing with it. And I think I said, when your kids ask to play with your yarn or something on the reel. And yeah, that one did well. My best reel.
Hey guys, today's episode is sponsored by Profit Tree, which is a new and incredible tool that will massively help your Etsy shop grow. My friend and fellow Etsy coach, Hannah Gardner, she's been on the podcast and you may know her from her massive, incredible YouTube channel, Ecom Hannah, highly recommend. She's a 7-figure seller who's obsessed with data tracking. This is like her superpower. I love it. Profit Tree is a service that's going to seamlessly integrate with your Etsy shop to give you automated, real-time profit tracking for your store. So for the first time ever, you can now obtain meaningful, actionable insights on core metrics of your Etsy shop. No more Excel sheets, VLOOKUPs, I don't even know what that is, or exporting reports. Y'all have been asking for this, and Hannah and her team have over-delivered. This is like one of those new tools that I'm so stinking excited about. With Profit Tree, you can spend less time playing catch up and more time growing your shop. So the integration will allow you to easily import and track your business expenses and product costs, which means that you can maximize sales of each item in your collection by seeing the true profit breakdowns in the blink of an eye. Forget about hours of manual work to only get outdated data. No kidding. Not to mention if you're like me and you don't even try because the numbers make your eyes bleed. So embarrassing, but it's true. But Profit Tree is going to do the work for you so you can get clear insights of all of your unique product variations, which is so helpful. Additional features to Profit Tree include real-time calculations, low stock alerts, one-click print-on-demand integrations, trend spot your product, that's helpful, track duplicated products so you can see which one's doing better and why, add custom expenses, optimize listings profitability, and identify listing issues like missing SKUs and COGS. Right now, when you sign up, you can start with a 7-day free trial and make sure to use code TREE10, TREE 10, to save 10% on your membership. And as someone who knows how important the tracking piece is, you guys, but I don't feel like it's a strength of mine in that area, I am so super excited about this service because it's going to take the piece off of my plate that I'm not good at, but still give me the benefit of having that work done. Super stoked. So check it out. Start gathering the best possible data for your shop, for your listings, and it's going to help you grow and scale your business. So thank you so much, Hannah and Profit Tree. You guys are lifesavers. Let me just change courses a little bit because one of the biggest things that people freak out about with physical products is the shipping aspect. So how have you set up your shipping? Like, are you just using Etsy shipping or are you using a third-party tool? How are you packaging? Talk to us a bit about shipping and maybe hopefully dispel some of the anxiety around it.
I do both. For Etsy orders, I always use Etsy shipping, but I do some orders as well off Etsy, and I usually use Pirate Ship for that. I've had no issues with them. I've had no issues doing my labels through them that aren't on Etsy. I get a lot of poly mailers at one time. I usually put my stuff in like a little mesh little bag, so it's at least nicely presented when it gets there. I have one like postcard, I guess, that I get from Canva that has, thank you for shopping, and I'll write a little bit on there, but it also has like the care instructions if you need to wash the item or, something like that. And then of course has my Instagram handle and a QR code of the Etsy shop too. So that is how I ship them.
And do you sell your stuff with free shipping and have it built in, or do you have a shipping cost?
I do free shipping, but my lowest priced physical item that isn't a pattern is $36. So it's not, so I do free shipping for the shop, just because it's kind of easier. And every one of my competitors does the same thing. So,
and you have just hit such an important thing. That's what everyone needs to do because every single niche is different. So you all need to go look at what the competitors are doing and mimic. Like if they do free shipping and build it in, that's what you do. If they have shipping as a separate line item, you do that. Bree, you are doing so great. Yeah. This is so awesome. Let's talk about I want to talk about your schedule. I want to talk about how you manage to crochet all of these things for these different and raise babies who literally play with your yarn and run around the house with it, and run this Instagram account and write patterns. How does that work? When do you do your work?
Anytime. Like if the kids are playing nicely, I usually have a hook in my hand. The time in the afternoon when we have our TV time, I'm usually, doing something. The second they go down, I'm crocheting. If I'm, I don't know, waiting in the car for grocery pickup, I'm usually scheduling my Instagram post, or, it's just the pockets of time throughout the day, really. Of course, the bulk of it is when they're asleep, but I try to find as many pockets throughout the day as I can.
There was a book I read many years ago when I was getting started in my Etsy shop. I believe it's called The Fringe Hours, and I'll link it in the show notes. Fringe Hours, something like that. And it was so good. It was this mom who's trying to build a little side hustle business while raising kids. And she was talking about that exact thing and like figuring out how to fit into the nooks and crannies of her time. So Bree, do you still enjoy crocheting, or has it taken the joy out of it for you at all?
I have times where I get a little burnout. Like last year at Christmas time, I was a little like, I can't make another one. It comes and goes, but the entrance of patterns has helped that, because it's a little bit more, you get to make what you want to make and kind of experiment and things like that. So I've had to just keep a balance of maybe I stop and make like my kids something or me something to keep a little more joy in it. And I still do enjoy it. But of course, after, a big batch of orders or something, I'm like, okay, let me fulfill a little bit of something.
Okay, so actually, now that you brought up Christmas, I'm wondering, after you went through a holiday season, which was stressful, how are you planning for this Q4? Like, how are you going to manage it so that it's less intense than last year, or are you just going to see what happens?
I'm going to probably make my cutoff a little earlier than I did last year. For me, honestly, I can't take as much of can you make, something kind of random or something not in my wheelhouse? Like I've kind of had to make my range or a little smaller. Like I'm going to stick to what I know I can get done. It's the time suckers, or when it's like, can you make this cat into a pillow that's this weird color that you're never going to use again, and things like that. Those are the real time suckers, because it's like more trial and error. So I'm really going to try to be a little pickier this holiday season, and probably make my cutoff a few weeks earlier than I did last year.
That's brilliant. The other thing, anyone listening, something that helped us a lot was the things that I knew would sell a lot. I sort of built up a little bit of an inventory so that I wasn't doing it so much to order, because sometimes I was getting 10 to 20 orders in a day. And there was just like no way, to fulfill that. That's so interesting.
Yes.
You had said something else. I was super curious, but how are you planning to scale this? So like, obviously you can only crochet so much, and at some point you don't want to hate your hobby. So how are you going to, and maybe, so what are your plans for the future for growth?
I want to have a few more patterns. I would love to have some more digital options for the shop. I am writing or working on a blog for me, another kind of outlet. I think there's a lot I can help with small shops and crocheters, and there's a lot of other things I'd love to say that's kind of hard in a reel or something like that. So I don't know. I'm going to try a blog here soon. I have started writing it, but just haven't clicked go yet. So,
are you a perfectionist?
So no, I'm not actually.
That's helpful.
I'm a very like, just click go and we'll figure it out, which normally doesn't work on Instagram and crocheters and stuff like that. I feel like I'm different in that sense, but I don't have to have a perfect feed. I don't have to have, even my Etsy listings, like, could definitely need improvement in some senses, but I think it's just better to start and you can see what works and doesn't. So that's how I've really taken this, like, let's just try it. So
switch gears a little bit, and I'd love for you to teach us about the what is it called? Creator Collective part of Etsy, where basically kind of like their affiliate program. I'm just going to let you explain it because you had to educate me in the DMs, which is how we bonded. So take it away. Tell us about Creator Collective.
Okay. So I think it started a little bit over a year ago. I was accepted in it in November, which is, I think, around the same time they started the Save and Share links.
Okay.
So Save and Share links saves you 4% on your Etsy fees, right? For your own shop. And Creator Co is that same 4%, but you get it on any link from Etsy. If you link something else on Etsy, you can get that same 4% back. So I think it's been really great for me because it works from your bio. Like, it changes the link in your bio. Like, instead of the Save and Share link, you would use your Creator Co link. So it's passive. If someone just finds you on Instagram, and buys something through getting to Etsy from your link, you get paid on that. So it's been really nice. And crocheters, like, we try to share each other's stuff a lot. If I post something with a different pattern, I try to post, you always credit that designer and stuff like that. So you try to link that pattern or whatever they need from Etsy to make it. So it's been really great. They also do fun little incentives too, though. Like this month, it's post a reel about like a Halloween themed with something from Etsy, and then they'll send you an Etsy gift card. So they have lots of little fun things to earn a little bit of extra money.
Are you a print on demand or digital product Etsy seller who's tight on time or still learning all of the Etsy secrets? I totally remember the days of having no idea what product to create next before I learned how to make those informed decisions so I can really identify with where you're at. I know how stressful and frustrating it can be to just create listing after listing and see little to no results. You wonder what you're doing wrong, and you just want someone to tell you what to create that's actually going to sell. Where are those opportunities? So let me give you a leg up with my weekly trends and opportunities report. You just join my membership, and every Monday, I'm going to send you an email with a list of exactly what is trending right now, with a video tutorial showing you how I found those trends and how to apply them in your shop. We're taking guesswork and extensive time off of your table. I'm also going to send you 5 print-on-demand and digital product opportunities that are growing in demand right now, helping new shops make sales and still have very low saturation in the marketplace. So your tight schedule, your newbie status doesn't have to hold you back anymore. I'm going to help you earn while you learn. You can grab my free demo to start and see an example of what the weekly trends and opportunities email looks like right from the show notes. See what you're going to get, and I will see you on the inside soon. Do you know if you need to be a seller to be able to be part of the Creator Collective?
I do not think. I'm 99% sure you don't have to be an Etsy seller. I remember it asking if I was one or not, so I assume you don't have to. So, one cool thing.
And then they just tally up all of the sales attributed to you, and you get like a PayPal or something every month. Is that how it works? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But it's pretty passive. Like other affiliates, like if they buy something else, you can still get credit for it. If they add to their cart, you still get, like, say they add what you linked, but then you add other things, you still get credit for that, like all other affiliate programs. So it can add up. It's just another passive income, which is nice when, like I said, I don't want to make tons of things all the time. So it's nice to have a little extra.
I love that. That actually sounds so nice. I'm like all over here trying to think about how could I leverage the Creator Code. That's so cool. So let's talk. I would love for you, since you're still early in your days, can you talk to new sellers? Do you have some tips you could share for people getting started on Etsy, or who are maybe like even hesitating to get started?
I think kind of back to just start, like, everything you've talked about on the podcast, like have your 10 pictures, make sure all your tags are filled out, and like all that is wonderful and super important. But it really helped me by just starting, just clicking go, even if it's a few listings or something like that. I started with 4 listings and just like enough, just to click go. you can always change things. Like, it's not like you click a live listing, like, to make it live and it's stuck like that forever, you know? I still tweak listings, or like, I don't know. So it's not too much of advice. It sounds kind of stupid. Just start, but you're not going to know what works or not if it's not live. If it's just in your drafts, you're not going to know what really works or not.
How did you kind of learn how to set up your listings? Or did you really just throw it up and see what happened? Or did you do some studying before you got started? I'm so excited to hear what you're going to say.
If you can't tell, I definitely fly by the seat of my pants. I'm like, let's just try it. But I did listen to this podcast. I did, try to do some research on what you need to at least have in the Etsy listings. But like I said, like, a lot of it's trial and error for me too. That sounds, I guess, not that great to hear, but like, made to orders do better for me than something ready to ship. And that, but that might not be true for other crocheters or other, whatever you're making. So, but I wouldn't have known that if I didn't try both. If I was still here with all ready to ship items, I'd be like, oh, Etsy's like not working for me, but I just hadn't tried something different. So I don't know. I just think it's good to try lots of things. And then when you see something sticking or you see something working, like, okay, like, we have to capitalize on this.
So that's such a brilliant mindset to have, Brie. But do you ever think, oh my gosh, what if I waste time? What if I go down this rabbit hole and nothing happens? Like, do you ever have those thoughts?
Of course.
So how do you push through that? How do you make yourself try something different?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I guess if you feel like you're wasting enough time, it can make you like, well, what if we just, I don't know, pivot? I don't know. Or like, maybe someone will like this color better, or, it doesn't have to be a huge change either for a listing. Like, maybe I just change the first picture, or maybe I just change like the title. Like, sometimes it doesn't have to be a huge change. And I think we get in our heads of, it's all terrible, or it's all isn't working. And like, it can be little adjustments that make a big difference. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer.
No, I love what you said there, because sometimes this is the thing about entrepreneurship. We grow skills cumulatively. So when something doesn't work and we have to start over somehow, you're not starting from the same place you started last time. So you're so wise, Bree, saying it doesn't mean you have to scrap all of it. Like, you're really not starting over. You might think you are, but you're not. And I think that is because here's the bottom line. Anyone who wants to build a real business online, and you don't have to have it, but you have to develop thick skin and patience, because nothing is going to go, most of the time, nothing is going to go as fast as you think it will, or as easily as you think it will, or as smoothly. And so you have to be resilient. And it's something I feel like our culture has lost a lot of today. And so I just really want to reinforce, like, there's always pros to it. Like, you are not starting from scratch. So I think that was really wise. Where can we connect with you and find you, Brie? Where are you in the interwebs?
Mainly on Instagram and, of course, Etsy. I'm hoping to have my blog up soon, but mainly on Instagram.
What is your handle?
Dear Little Dudley.
It's so cute. How did you come up with that name? I really like it.
Thanks. Dudley is my last name, and I was trying to just think of something that, I mainly sell items for kids, but I didn't want it to be too kid specific. I mean, I guess it kind of leans towards that, but I just wanted it to be a little general. So I don't know. I think I was trying to find something with a D, and it just kind of stuck. So
I think it's charming. I think you're exactly right. It's somewhere on the edge. It's like an upscale boutique could be called Dear Little Dudley, like for a baby shop or something like that. Or kids. Yeah. So you've like 10 out of 10 nailed it on the head. Thank you so much for being willing to get way out of your comfort zone and do this with me today. The thing is like, I know that, you were telling me before we started, like, I often have these kind of big numbers, flashy stories on here, and those are great. Those are like very highly downloaded. But when I get the DMs from other makers and I get emails and I get feedback, what people love is stories just like yours, Brie, where you're a little ahead of the new person and you're able to give them kind of a path to follow. Whereas sometimes when we hear the really big numbers, it feels very unattainable. Whereas like you are casting vision for these new folks to actually to just start getting their feet wet. And honestly, you got into some of the details that we often don't hear about from the bigger creators because they're beyond that. They're not thinking about that anymore. And those are the things that people listening need to hear. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being willing to get uncomfortable with me and for sharing your story and your shop. And I hope that a lot of your patterns get maybe some sales from this and that people go buy like a little lovey for the baby in their life or the child. And you're a treasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And again, like you said, like I'm out of my comfort zone and a little, like you said, I was like, why do you want my little shop? So thank you for letting me share my story. And yeah, hope I answered everything okay.
You did awesome. And we have to keep in touch for sure. So you guys, thank you for hanging out with us and listening to Brie's story. I hope you feel inspired and like it's possible for you. And she really does have the cutest stuff. You will not believe these crochet animals. They are so adorable. So go check her out. And don't just go click and click, like support her. So either, follow, purchase, favorite, do something to support her shop. But you guys, thank you. I love you so much.
Thank
and until
you.
next week, go make something awesome. Take care, you guys. And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.